Glad to say I'm joined in the studio by the Education Minister, Graham Cregeen, and also the School Improvement Advisor, Joel Smith. We have had an email in, and we'll start with it. It is from David Watts, to set the whole ball rolling. Good morning. I'm the researcher that James Davis interviewed yesterday. Since that broadcast, I have been flooded with requests for data on various schools. It is, I believe, inevitable that league tables will be published, based in part on the data the department was directed by the Information Commissioner to release, but a shame the department don't want to take the lead in this. And whilst in the studio, could the Minister explain the reasons for vastly different attainment in the three primary schools in his constituency, namely Victoria Road, Arbury and Ballasalla? Well, that kicks things off. Mr. Cregeen, good morning.
Good morning, Tim. It's quite interesting to hear these figures that were quoted. I had officers yesterday going through the UK education website on gov.uk. And if I just go to the 41% on the reading, yes, we had 41.1%. And if I go to all pupils, and this is for 2017, the percentage of children attaining the highest standard is 25. So officers have had great difficulty over yesterday trying to find out where Mr. Watts has got his figures from the UK. And it's disappointing that Ms. Kane has actually said that she understands that we haven't got these correct figures. These are the figures that we have. And for attainment, we're not actually got a direct comparison, because we're assessing over different areas than in the UK. And if our education system was worse than the UK, when it comes to IGCSEs, how come we're attaining higher than in the UK? So we're having a really sound base through our primary schools. When they go into secondary school, then they're building on that. So it's very difficult to understand without seeing how they've managed to get these different figures.
Well, why there is a perception out there, isn't it, that there's a great reluctance from the department to actually go down the route of school league tables.
But Joel,
well, Tim. Good morning. Any system which produces a league table based on a single measure of performance risks creating an environment in which schools can manipulate statistics to move nearer the top. We believe this.
Are you saying that's happening in England?
Absolutely. Evidence suggests that there is a narrowing of the curriculum. With the EBAC measure, a lot of the more creative subjects, the vocational subjects, have been nudged out in favour of the schools ensuring that their curriculum simply matches the data which feeds into those league tables. And this creates what we'd understand to be an extreme accountability culture in England. Which places a great deal of pressure on school leaders, sees many teachers leaving the profession, and perhaps most significantly puts a great deal of stress and anxiety on pupils who have to sit the test. That's the school
side, isn't it? But the parents, they're wanting to see which schools are performing.
But the issue, Tim, is that if you simply use attainment, which is what the individual was stating yesterday, that is a narrow and potentially misleading figure, and doesn't take into account pupils' starting points when they begin their journey in education. It just gives you a summative level or grade at the end of it. They don't have levels in England anymore. They also don't use an A-star to G grading system that we use here, and so we are confused as to how that individual has come to a level 5 when they simply
why don't you then just simply go and meet with David Watts?
Well, Mr. Watts hasn't even come into it. All we've received from Mr. Watts is freedom of information requests. And it was surprised when he comes out with these figures. But when we look through the data, we've got here in the UK, scale scores range from 80 to 120. The average scale score only includes pupils who took the test and achieved a scale score. Now, our results include the special unit and those with higher level needs. So we haven't excluded anybody from our data, yet in the UK they have. So you're trying to set up a league table which isn't actually accurate. We've got a fully inclusive education system in the island, and when we have school leaders from other jurisdictions coming over to the Isle of Man, they applaud us for what we're doing. So it's why are we comparing a education system which we are getting applauded for to one which you can say through here, why are they not inclusive with all their students?